Well, people, it's finally happened. NCAA has introduced a new rule at 3:28 Eastern today. The new NCAA transfer rule will allow all undergraduate athletes to transfer and play immediately if they meet specific academic requirements, as the Division I Council on Wednesday approved emergency legislation announced by the NCAA. Now, the decision isn't final until meetings end on Thursday, but the new rule still needs to be formally approved by the NCAA Executive Board on Monday. But that is expected to be a formality, right? The rule will provide immediate eligibility to any athlete who transferred during the 2023-2024 academic year, including football players who entered the transfer portal Tuesday during this window. As long as they're academically eligible and are meeting progress towards the degree requirements of the new school, legislation will not limit the number of times you can transfer, and there are still two transfer windows. But they can't transfer mid-year and play for a second school in the same season. Although the new rule is tied to academic progress, some college athletes have expressed concern about the long-term implication of graduation rates, APR. One of the questions we got to ask ourselves is, at what point does the degree still matter? I think it's going to make it harder and harder for guys to come multi-year transfer guys for them to actually get a college degree. If you graduate, there's a lot of times it makes sense. Change schools many times as you want if you graduate. But on the same note, if someone's changing schools 3 times, I'm wondering what their progress toward a degree really looks like. I think that's something everyone should probably have some awareness of. And that's from Oregon coach Dan Lanning. Previously, NCAA had a one-time transfer rule, allow athletes to play automatically at the first school they transferred to. But had to sit out a year, they transferred again, or apply for NCAA waiver to compete immediately. In December, the NCAA proposed a policy in reaction to West Virginia judge ruling intended to stop the organization from enforcing by law barring athletes from transferring multiple times and playing right away. The NCAA agreed to terms on the injunction that runs at least through the end of the academic year. In January, the Department of Justice joined a lawsuit against NCAA transfer rules, a suit that argues limitations on transfers violated antitrust law. According to the amended complaint for an injunctive relief filed in January, the bylaws unjustly restrain the ability of these college athletes to engage in the market for the labor as NCAA Division I college athletes. College football's 15-day transfer window is open. Players have until April 30th to enter the portal. They don't have to find a new schools by then. They can choose to remain with the current team, but they have 15 days to decide what they want to do. With the rules changes, NCAA members continue to prioritize long-term academic success for college athletes who transfer, while supporting their opportunity to compete immediately. Florida's Deputy of Athletics Director and Chair of the Council. We hope that this practical approach to transfer eligibility requirements will encourage student athletes to make well-informed decisions about transferring and impact such a move that could have an impact on their ability to graduate on time in their degree of choice. Right. The D1 Council also moved forward legislation that will allow schools to be more actively involved. This is where it comes at. This is the whole point of the whole thing. The D1 Council moved forward on legislation that will allow schools to be actively involved in getting sponsorship deals for the athletes. Schools could still not directly pay, but they could facilitate NIL opportunities between third parties and athletes. All that came down That's on ESPN.com. I'll leave the link in the description below. All that whole spiel for one paragraph. They now allow these colleges to facilitate deals. You can't pay the player directly, but you can have your homeboy or homegirl pay that player. This is basically going to be the opening of shadow companies, collectives. Oh, it's getting open. You will see a bunch of these pop up. Some already here. Sean Clifford, Penn State, had his own NIL. He was NIL, but he paid his offensive line. UT has pancake funds. All offensive linemen get $50,000. Matador Fund over there at Texas Tech, every player on the team gets 25,000. Pony Up, SMU, every player gets $36,000. You're going to start seeing more and more of this at a higher level. You're going to start seeing the billionaires get involved. I mean, hell, we already see. Screw it, I'm going to say it. We already see what Elon Musk and SpaceX has done to UTRGV in South Texas. We already know the money behind it. We can't allow, well, they won't allow the colleges to directly pay, but they'll let their friends chip in. This is basically the first step to disbanding the NCAA. Ronald Reagan once said, the scariest words to hear in your life are from the government, and I'm here to help. The second the government starts doing antitrust, trust busting on the NCAA, breaking up, you're going to have the FBS, the Group of Five, break up to their own special little league. You're going to have the have and have-nots. You're already seeing ESPN picking sides. And you're going to start seeing the money for these TV contracts be funneled. Because remember, the schools can't pay. But I guarantee you, Fox Sports would rather have Shedeur Sanders on Colorado than over ESPN at Georgia. So what's stopping them from funneling money that way? Coach Simmons, it's about to get very interesting. I'm out.